The Big Footy Port Adelaide podcast is proudly sponsored by New Vision.
My team, kinda power. I love the power. I love the power.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Big Footy Port Adelaide podcast, a show about all things Port Adelaide Footy Club. I'm your host Macca 19, and joining me tonight we've got Forzaport.
Good evening, Macca. Excited to be here.
It's going to be a good weekend, buddy. Friday night footy.
First game of the round. Love it. Friday night. Very rare to get it for us these days, so we have to make the most of it while we can.
That's it. We probably should be thanking Carlton, considering they've had about 15 Friday night games this year.
Yeah, they usually got a mortgage on the Friday night, so I guess we should thank them. And it'll be a cracking game. It'll be it's oversold. Yeah, it's not even a sellout. It's probably oversold.
Yep.
As you were saying,
be a ripper.
Podcasts. So yeah, it's going to be good. Should be
awesome. Now Rick's not here this evening. It's just us two, but I was able to get some sound bites from Rick earlier about the game tomorrow night. So I'll splice them or a couple of them in as we go. Yep. So we might as well just get straight into it and talk about the game. It's Port versus Carlton tomorrow night. Let's hope for another 50,000 crowd there. We've got a 14-11 win-loss record. But we've only won 2 of the last 9. And the last time we met was in round 1, where we came from behind at three-quarter time and won by 33 points.
Yeah, so it's the second time we're facing them this year. I think it's fair to say both teams are in a different space to where they were at the start of the year. I guess Carlton was expected to have a far better year than what they've had, and we were probably expected to slide a little bit. And it's
yeah. You could probably say that we've swapped positions from our pre-season rankings, because a lot of people thought that Carlton would make top 4, and a lot of people thought that we'd struggle to make the finals, and we've kind of swapped positions there.
Yeah, we have. We've managed to really have a strong start to the year and bank a lot of really handy wins, and Carlton have done the opposite. They've had a lot of they lost their first 4, I think. So they certainly struggled in the first half of the year.
That's it. They lost to Melbourne, and they've lost 6 games by under 2 goals, and there's another 3 games where I think they were in front during the last quarter that they lost as well. So their finishing skills aren't all that great, the Blues.
No, they've definitely had a few close ones, but their form in the last month has really improved. They've won 2 and lost 2, but I guess it's more about the way they've gone about it. They've really they pushed Geelong last week and
pushed Freo as well.
Yeah, they pushed Freo, but let's be honest, in that Geelong game they probably should have gone away with the win there. I think Geelong were quite lucky to get that free kick at the end.
Absolutely. Look, let's have a quick discussion about the teams. Into the side comes Jackson Trengove and also Gus Monfries, both back from injury. They were both late exclusions last week before the game against Gold Coast. And out of the side comes Tommy Logan and Aaron Young. Pretty good changes, I would think.
Yeah, it's fairly obvious in reality. Young and Logan were the emergencies, and they now make way for the players they replaced in Trengove and Monfries. I did notice a bit on the forums that there was a little bit of discontent about Monfries coming straight back in. But I think, player of Monfries' standing, I think he still has a fair few credits in the bank. And our forward line does operate better when he's in there and playing well. The only problem's been the playing well part, and he's been a bit down. But I guess with your experienced players, you do need to give them that opportunity to rediscover their form.
Yep. Especially someone like Monfries, who we know can play some outstanding football. He did it all last year. He did it at the start of this year as well. He hasn't really recovered from his numerous injuries as the year has gone on. He's sort of slowly gone down a bit in form, but he just always looks that one good game away from hitting that form again. And I'd still like to see him as sub. I've said it the last 2 weeks, but I reckon he'd be a perfect sub.
Yeah, I agree with you. When you said that in the last couple of podcasts, I did think, wow, that's a very insightful call there. It's because he's probably Yeah, he's had an injury-interrupted year. He's missed a lot of games with his hamstring and the hip flexor last week, and I think he's probably capable of a really solid quarter and a half output. Over a full game, it's a bit more. Is he going to rediscover that form and fitness that he started off with? But yeah, no, certainly a good call.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if they do go with that, or if they choose someone else, maybe Matt White or Andrew Moore again. I don't know. I think the thing that worries me about Carlton more than anything else is their pace. I think they're quite a quick side, especially coming out of defence there with guys like Zach Tui, Sam Doherty, Kieran Sheehan. They're all pretty quick players. And they like to sort of zoom out of defence, and it's something that we've really struggled against Carlton over the last sort of 3 or 4 years.
We have struggled against them with that pace, but I think, well, in round one we showed that we can match them in that area now. So it's whether we can still match them in that area that's going to be one of the big questions for tomorrow night.
Yep.
As far as the sub goes, yeah, my suspicion is that it'll probably be someone like a Moore. I think he's probably the most vulnerable player in terms of being sub. I'd hate to see Matt White be sub, seeing as he does offer us so much pace, and we've really missed a lot of his run over the last few weeks when he's been missing. And last week we didn't see it because of the weather, but he still had a pretty big impact, even though it was 85 mils of rain.
Yeah. Well, is Cam O'Shea an option? Because they're not exactly a tall forward line. They've got Casbolt and Waite up there, but pretty much all the rest are smalls, and they don't really have any talls elsewhere in the side that you think could sort of sneak forward and play as that third tall.
Yeah, I guess Cam O'Shea could be an option, but I don't really. One of his main strengths is that he runs all day.
Yeah.
He's not that impact type of player that you get with a Pittard or a Broadbent or a White. Moore's not exactly that sort of player either, but O'Shea is one that just runs all day. So I think with him, it's you either play him or you don't.
Yep.
But no, he's on the bench, so he could be a call. We are quite good for defenders at the moment. He's probably holding a spot because his form has been so strong, even though we don't really need that defender, and he can probably push up further up the wing.
Well, look, let's have a listen to what Rick had to say on his thoughts on how we're going to go on Friday night.
Oh, look, I reckon they're going to be up for the challenge. I don't think it's a game where I'm sort of, oh my God, I think we're going to lose. And I also don't think it's a game that we're necessarily just going to waltz away with a 10-goal victory. I mean, Carlton have showed recently, they pushed Geelong and they pushed Freo in Freo, that they're around the mark and their intensity has been up. It's just, I guess, as was pointed out in one of the threads earlier this week, that they just can't nail those close ones, which has been a little bit symptomatic of us lately too. But I mean, overall, I'm expecting a bit more. I think there might be a bit more of an open game.
Some interesting thoughts there from Rick. Forza, how do you think we're going to go? Is this a game that worries you at all?
It is. But every game worries me in a sense. But I guess now we're in the business end. There's no more. You can't drop any more games, really. We absolutely have to win this game if we want a chance at top four and a real good crack at the premiership. So it does worry me, but I think we can certainly match Carlton. How about yourself, Macca?
Yeah, it does worry me as well. As you said, we really need to be in some fantastic form. We're right on the verge of finals. We can't afford to be losing games. Top four is still very much on the cards, despite Freo's, I guess you'd say, shock win last weekend. All it takes is for them to have a little mishap this week. As we know, Fife's out, Barlow's out, so Brisbane are a big chance. We're a big chance against them next week as well. So top four is definitely on the cards. So we really can't afford to drop this game. I hope they're very focused on Friday night. I think we've got the players. I think we've got the strength to defeat them. As I said earlier, I am a little worried about their pace. As I said, they've got a lot of pace coming out of that back half. They can tear us apart going sort of straight down the middle. So that's probably the one thing that I'm most concerned about. But look, I think we've got the players, we've got the forward line, we've got the defence to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're fairly well balanced, and I also agree that they do have good pace. And now that Chris Judd is back in the team and playing some good football, he lifts everyone around him. He makes all those other Carlton players better players, and it makes Carlton a more formidable team.
Yeah.
But I guess as far as our team's concerned, we still have our destiny in our hands to a certain extent. We can still get to the top 4 in our own right. I truly believe that. Like, unless Freo come out and absolutely smash Brisbane by 100 plus points and we struggle against Carlton, we really have a solid crack at that top 4 spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really, this isn't a game we should be dropping. We've got pretty much our first team out there. We don't have a lot of injuries to our our best 22. So they really should be winning this game. You look through Carlton's list, they've got quite a big injury list at the moment to a lot of their first 22 players. Guys like McLean, Ellard, Everett, Walker, Robinson, Henderson and Thomas are out of the side, and Cruiser as well.
And Garlett.
So that's a massive chunk of experience and talent that Carlton will be missing tomorrow night.
Yeah, and they've also... it looks like they're rolling the dice on Menzel as well.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if he does actually come in, or stay in, I guess, or if he does become a bit of a late out, and if someone like Armfield drops back into the side.
Yeah, I think that's why we've got Impey waiting in the emergency. I've noticed he was taken out of the Magpies team as a standby player for the AFL team, and I'm sure that's just standard having a 23rd player ready to go. But I get the feeling that if Menzel does in fact play, we may see a late change.
Yep. Who would you think would come out?
Oh, oof.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. But I'll probably have to be someone like maybe Moore, or it could be a defender. We might see O'Shea drop out for Impey.
Yep.
They'd be the only 2 candidates, I'd say, and I wouldn't want to see Moore drop out, seeing as he's finally starting to get some AFL time, and he's one of those players that I think will only get better if we just give him the opportunity to develop.
Yeah. No, that's a good call. Jackson Trengove, do we expect to see him playing up forward this week?
I think so. I think Carlyle and Homsch can really hold down the key position posts in defence, and that should allow Trengove a lot more freedom to float around the forward and as well as the ruck. So they should allow Lube to have a not so much of a hard game as far as wearing him out to a stub. He can probably play better for longer with someone like Trengove around. That also gives us that third tall forward as well.
Yep.
He's up there. So definitely.
Now, Mark Murphy, Tommy Jonas did a fantastic job on him in round 1. Really shut him out of the game. Do you expect Jonas might go to him again this week, or do you think one of the midfielders will get the job on him?
I think it all depends on where Mark Murphy plays, in all honesty. If they try to push him further up the ground into their forward line, I'd say Jonas will probably mind him. But I don't know. I guess, he did do a really good job on him last time, so they might just put him back on there. I guess it really depends on where they end up playing. How do you see it?
I'm probably expecting Jonas to go to him again. I wouldn't even mind seeing him go to him the whole game, even if he is running through the midfield. I think it's a matchup which would really give us a bit of an advantage, especially if Jonas can do a fantastic job again. We've got the backup players there to move on to Murphy in case that doesn't work. In guys like Corns, you'd expect maybe Andrew Moore might go to him as well. Maybe Ollie Wines, you never know. But yeah, I'd definitely be starting Jonas there.
Oh yeah. Do you think Corns will have a tagging role?
I think he'll probably run with Gibbs. I think we'll let Judd run by himself. I think Corns will go to Gibbs. I think Jonas will go to Murphy. and I would expect Polek to sort of look after Simpson a little bit as well.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. What about Yaron?
Yaron, well, it really depends where he plays. I mean, if he plays down back, do we play a bit of a shutdown job on him? I mean, that's something that Monfries would probably be suited for, to see if he can sort of force him back to the goal square a little bit. If we do actually decide to play a bit more of a traditional structure this week. Or maybe Jakey Need could do a little bit of a job on him as well. But if he plays up forward, I would expect someone like Pittard to go to him.
Yeah, I would have thought Pittard would mind him if he's up forward, but if he's down back, I don't know about Monfries. I'm sort of starting to get those horror visions of the Malcheski just running off him at every opportunity a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
I'm wondering whether a White would be.
Yeah, I mean that's probably why we've got Whitey in the team for, really, isn't it? That's why we picked him up, but he's sort of become a player in his own right as the years gone on, Matty White.
Who do you see playing on Need?
It's hard to say. I reckon maybe the new guy, Kieran Sheehan.
Yeah, I was looking at Carlton's lineup, and I can't really see a direct matchup for Jakey Need. I think that's one area where we might be able to expose them a little bit. They don't really have that small defender that could take someone like Need.
Yeah, I mean they've got Tui. He's very quick. He could go with Need. Sheehan as well. They might throw someone like Kane Lucas back there. I think they've got the options. It's just which path they choose to take. But I reckon they might try Sheehan and try and rough him up a little bit.
For sure. So do you think our midfield will be able to keep theirs at bay? That's probably where they have a lot of their talent at the moment, is right through the middle.
Yeah, they've got. Even though they've got so many injuries, they've still got pretty much their first choice midfield out on the park. So that's definitely where, if they're going to get an advantage, that would be where it would be, I would think. But look, I think our midfield's in pretty good form as well. It'll be interesting to see who they play on Boak, whether Curnow goes to him or Carazzo. Same story with Ebert. And then you've still got guys like Harlett, Wines, Polek, Robbie Gray. I mean, you can't stop them all, can you?
No, and you haven't even mentioned Wingard and all of that.
Or Wingard either, yeah, that's it.
Yes, so there's certainly, we should definitely give them a lot of headaches as far as matchups go, for sure. Yeah, so how would you see Cameron Wood lining up in the ruck?
Well, I guess he's one of those super tall ruckmen that Lobie tends to struggle against. Though I think Lobie should be able to physically push him off the ball a little bit. I think if we're going to win the game, Lobie's going to have a big one and try and mirror what he did last week. Yeah. And Wood's been in good form though. Like he's certainly held his own once he's come into the team.
Yeah, he's been going all right. He's holding down their first ruck spot, so he's definitely been doing all right. But I don't know. It's still Cameron Wood. So,
it's still Cameron Wood, yeah. That's right.
I guess he's been around for a long, long time now. He's at his third club, but yeah, he's certainly.
I feel a lot better with him as their ruckman than I would with Cruiser or Warnock.
Yeah, definitely. He's only really played the past month this year, hasn't he? And
yeah, he's only played the 4 games.
Yeah, and that's sort of coincided with Carlton's form, so you'd have to say that he's pretty important in their midfield fortunes, at least.
Yep. No, that's right. Who do you see going to Wait? Do you think it'll be Carlisle or maybe Homsch?
Well, I would think it'd be Homsch, to be honest, unless Wait just sits at full forward and Carlisle will probably take him. But if Wait does start floating a little bit, I think Homsch will be able to take him, and Carlisle will just sit back on Casbolt.
Yeah, that's the way I'd be looking as well.
He's been fairly inept lately. He hasn't really done much over the course of the year, but he does have that height advantage. So
he's got that height and strength, and he's a good contested mark. His kicking's a little bit of a mixed bag, but yeah, you'd expect Carlisle to go to him. I'd expect Homsch to start on Wait. He's got the pace and that closing speed and defensive ability to match Waite's positive traits, I would think.
Yeah, and he was so impressive against Franklin a couple of weeks ago that you just have to give him first dibs.
All right, well let's go into our 4 questions. I'll get Rick's response to time to stand up first.
My time to stand up will be the Hoffenator and Schultze, our 2 key forward targets. I thought the Hoff was starting to come back to a bit of form last week, and he was really taking some grabs. I thought Jay is still lacking a bit of influence in our game plan structure up forward. So I really want to see our 2 key forward targets really take the game on. It's going to be 20 degrees this Friday, isn't it?
It is. It's going to be a warm one.
So it might be a little bit drier, less dew in the air. So I think that will be to our advantage as well. So, yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I'd really like to see our 2 key forwards, who are fantastic forwards, get utilised effectively and, have great delivery by our midfielders and, and just have a nice forward structure there. Thank
you, Rick, for that one. Forza, what about yourself, mate?
Time to stand up. I'm going to go with Monfries. He's been injured. His form's been down. It's time for him to stand up and show the world why he was selected and why he deserves to be in the best 22.
Yep, I like that. I've gone a similar path and said the small forwards and their defensive pressure. I think Carlton's run from defence, as I've said before, is something that's really torn us to pieces over the years. And even in round 1, I thought when they got out to their lead a couple of times, it was mainly because of that run from their defensive group. So guys like Wingard, Monfries, Need, Gray, as well as Schultz as well, I think they're really going to need to be at their defensive best on the weekend to stop guys like Simpson and Yaron and others like Tui being able to run it clear out of their defensive 50.
Yeah, and that used to be one of our real strengths as well, was our defensive pressure in the forward line. We seem to have let that slip, so it'd be good to recapture that.
Yeah, it's certainly something that's slowly gotten worse as the year has gone on. I think that might be because of maybe all the injury issues that we have had, and we did get quite a jump on the rest of the competition in terms of fitness at the start of the year. All right, Danger Man, Rick.
Danger Man will be Mark Murphy. As we just pointed out, he's played well against us in the past, and maybe Tom Jonas will run with him, like you said, when he goes forward, as he's done in the past as well. But I don't know if we want to see Mark Murphy kicking 3 or 4 goals and having 25 plus disposals.
Thank you, Rick. Forza.
I'm going to go with Bryce Gibbs. He always seems to go up a gear when he's in front of the South Australian crowd, and he tends to usually play pretty well against Port, and he's been in some pretty ripping form since he's signed on with Carlton. So I think he's probably our danger man.
Yeah, I like that. For me, it's Jared Waite. He remains their dangerous player up forward. He's been in fantastic form, arguably career best form even in the last 5 or 6 weeks, and just looks so explosive. He's got great pace. He's got a great mark. He's kicked goals from anywhere. I think he could cause Homsch and even Trengo some issues. He hasn't had a big one against Port for a few years, so he might be, really looking to make it count this Friday night.
Oh, for sure. It could be due, hey?
Could be due. That's it. The key to winning. Rick.
Key to winning is confidence, Macca. I think it's coming back, and I want to see that overlap run. And I want to see that. I want to see the team defensive pressure. I think that's coming back as well. So I want to see that stepping up a notch again, especially from our forwards, our smaller forwards, where I think that's probably been the noticeable absentee in our team defensive play over the last 2 months. So hopefully we can apply that forward pressure, which will cause the turnovers and allow our defenders the luxury to reposition themselves to have that 3rd or 4th man up at the contest and outnumber the forwards, and that will allow us to have the repeat entries and dominate the game like we did against Gold Coast.
Thank you, Rick. Forza.
I think the usual win it in the midfield, have some efficiency in our forward line. This is something that we really need to get on top of now. It's because we are in the business end of the season. We need to make our forward entries into 50 counts, and make the most of those opportunities, kick straight.
Yep, I like that. Again, I've gone a similar path. I've said maintaining our structures and hitting targets inside 50. I think it's a little bit linked to my time to stand up as well, but we just can't be missing targets inside 50 like we have been for the past 5 or 6 weeks. I really want to see us maintain those forward structures and give our midfielders something to kick to. As I said a couple of weeks ago, I really want to see players lead towards the ball instead of us always trying to run with the ball or run with the flight of the ball. I don't think clearing out the forward line and running onto the ball is going to work against the quick defence that Carlton has. And predictions, Rick?
I'm going to go Port by 37 points, and I'm going to go Brisbane by 2 goals.
Oh, nice.
It's going to be the round for us, I imagine.
Let's hope so. Nice. And Forza?
I'd like to see us come away with a nice 70-point win, just to give us the percentage booster and put us in a real good position facing Freo the week after. But I get the feeling that's probably going to be a bit closer than that, seeing as we seem to come up against teams that like to ruin the party and make it difficult for us. So I'm going to be a bit more conservative and say a nice 20-point victory.
Nice. As you said earlier, they've been pretty competitive the last month or 6 weeks or so. I just think, given the fact that we've got pretty much our first 22 out on the park, given the fact they've got so many injuries to their best 22 in the grandstand, I think we should be too strong. We'll be able to match them in the midfield. We'll be far too strong up forward, and I think our defence is going to do a fantastic job on their forward line as well. So I'm going to predict a 49-point victory.
Wow. That's a good call.
Some big ones there. Let's hope it comes to fruition, that one.
Hope so. Have a big final series in that case.
And how good is it? How good will it be on a Friday night if we do end up dominating the game and having a big win?
Well, we're on the national stage, Friday night football. It's one of those games where we can really say to the rest of the competition, we're back in form. Here we are. We're giving it our best shot to claim the flag.
Cheer, cheer the black and the white. Honour the Magpies day and by night. Live that.
On to the SANFL. It's Port versus Glenelg this Saturday at Glenelg Oval. Glenelg's won 8 of the last 10 games at the Bay. Although the last time we met, of course, was that massive 152-point thrashing in round 2 at Alberton, where Johnny Butcher kicked 5 goals and we just dominated from the first bounce. So it's already been decided. Glenelg's won consecutive wooden spoons this year. It looks like we have top spot sewn up. We would need to have quite a large loss this week, you would think, to lose top spot.
I can't see that happening at all, Macca.
No, not against this Glenelg team, I would think.
Well, it's not even that. It's look at who we're playing in the league game. When you have, what did Hinkley say? 41 out of 45 players available. You're going to be playing some pretty solid players in the second tier competition if they don't make the AFL team.
And that's it.
And we've got young Logan coming into the team. And it's already full of players who are already very strong at SANFL level. I just can't see us winning by anything less than 10 goals, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, it's only really Nathan Cracker, Gus Brueggemann, and possibly Henry Slattery that are going to be in the team that aren't part of the AFL group.
Yeah. It's apart from that, and Cracker anyway he's an AFL quality player if he gets his fitness and form back to the AFL standard. So it's we're practically playing a second tier AFL team against a wooden spooner SANFL team. So there could be a fair bit of carnage this weekend.
Yeah. Now they've said Campbell Heath is back, which is quite an incredible story, given that he did his knee all of about 4 months ago. He had the last surgery, and they've said he's back in the side this week, but I'm not actually seeing his name in the team.
Yeah, I haven't seen him named here either. But if they're saying he's back, you'd have to assume he'd slot in for one of these players.
Yeah, you'd think he'd come in for probably Slattery and play off the bench.
Yeah.
Such an incredible story. I mean, I love Campbell Heath. I reckon he's got a big future with Port Adelaide. And it's great to see him back.
He's certainly a super talent, and watching him play at AFL last year, very, very few ball got past him. He was just a fantastic defender, and the miracle of Lars allows him to come back and see if he can get his career back on track.
That's it. Let's hope he has a good one.
Yeah, for sure. Look forward to seeing how he goes.
That's it. Now, are you expecting another big win like we got in round 2 this week?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. It's this team, like these players, especially the likes of your Kane Mitchells, your Ben Newtons, who else is there? Your Tom Logans, your Sam Grays. These are the players and your Aaron Youngs. These are the players that have had AFL time, and they would be desperate to crack back into that AFL team. So I'd be expecting a pretty strong showing.
Yep.
Especially
yeah, look, I'd be
coming up.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be a 10-goal plus victory again this week. It would be good to get a big win just before finals, just before the week off, just to seal top spot there. So they can have a little bit of a break, come out in the second semi-final and see how they can go.
Yeah, and it'll be the first finals since 2008, so it's a long time between drinks. But it'd be good to see the Magpies back in the finals. Yeah, so do you think Johnny Butcher will return to his true position in the forward line, or you reckon we'll see a bit more of him down back?
It's hard to say. I mean, it's interesting that they've chosen to play him down back. Maybe it was, I think Hocking said it was just because of his lack of match fitness, so he could have a little bit less running around to do, I think. So it'll be interesting to see which way they go. I like him up forward. I think he needs to play up forward. I think that's, if he's going to have a future, that's where it's going to be. And look, I think we really need both, all of Butcher, Harvey and Shaw firing just before finals.
Yeah, I think we certainly need them firing at SANFL level to give us a good showing in the SANFL finals. I guess one thing I noticed from Hocking's comments on Butcher was when he did go into defence, he had a lot of marks. So I guess it was more of a confidence-building exercise just so he can compete for marks and start getting a bit of that confidence back.
Yep.
Playing centre-half forward is probably one of the hardest positions, if not the hardest position to play. And if your confidence is down, it can be quite challenging. And I think I do have to agree with Trengove when he was on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and that there's just so much potential there for Butcher. We really want to do what we can to help him and just see that potential come out, because we'll only win because of it.
Absolutely.
It'll only make us better.
Yep. Who of the young players has impressed you this year?
I'd have to say Archie. Not just because he was on the podcast. He did speak really well, but at the start of the year, I thought, this kid's probably one of the players that's in line for delisting. He's probably in the bottom 5 players at the moment. And the first half of his year was pretty quiet, but then something clicked, and he just started playing far more impact football, and he's really lifted his game. So he's one that's definitely impressed me in the second half of the year, and I think he's probably I'm hoping he's probably saved his bacon a bit and earned another year on the list to see if he can push for that AFL career.
Yep.
How about yourself, Macca?
Yeah, I like that call. Archie's been great the second half of the year. For me, it's probably Karl Amon. I think I'm not sure what I was expecting from him this year. I thought he's a young kid. He was a late draft pick coming over, moving state. I thought, well, maybe he might struggle and be one of those players that gets sort of 10 touches a game playing off the bench. But he's really made a spot on a wing his own. He kicks goals. He's super quick, and as we know, he's such a accurate kick of the footy as well. I think he's got a great AFL future in front of him.
Yeah, his form has certainly surprised as far as his draft position. He might be a gem in the rough for sure.
Yep. I mean, this late in the year, he's an emergency for the AFL team, just on the verge of final. So he's definitely doing a lot of things right.
Yeah, that's reward for his efforts. That's the coaches saying, if you keep this up, we're putting you in the top 25. That's not far from opportunity at AFL level, particularly this late in the season. That's a massive accolade for a first year player.
Yep. I think Darcy Byrne-Jones is another that started pretty slowly. His first 3 or 4 games were a little bit, neither here nor there, but he's really grown as the year's gone on as well. And you can see him growing in confidence in his ability with his body, and when to attack, when to run off, and all that sort of stuff. And his skills are improving every game as well.
Yeah, he's certainly found his feet at league level, and it's good to see that I think he's managed to earn himself a couple of bests as well, and yeah, he's definitely had a solid year for a first year player. How do you see Sam Russell now that he's back from injury?
I think he's worth a second year just to see what he can do with a full pre-season and having a big crack at a year to see how he can go. He's probably, similar to story to Amon. I'm not sure what I was really expecting from him at the start of the season, and he's probably not done all that much. I think it's, this is probably where playing in the SANFL reserves would really help some guys. I don't think he's ready for playing senior football against, big grown bodies just yet. I think he might have benefited from playing at that lower level for a few games.
Yeah, I have to agree. He's virtually a bottom ager, and when you have such a serious injury as what he's had, to come back in and play at SANFL league level straight away for someone of his, I guess, fitness and age, it's probably asking a lot. So
yeah,
but he seems to be slowly building, and I would hope that he would get a second year just.
Yeah. It would be pretty rough. It would be pretty rough to drop him. As you said, he's a bottom ager. He only made the draft by a couple of days. He's had a big injury. He's missed 3 months of footy. It would be pretty tough to cut him, I would think.
Yeah, but I guess it depends on how the draft shapes up and what opportunities the club sees at the SANFL at the rookie draft level. But he was drafted for a reason. And clubs when they select players, they do like to invest the time before they make that final call on them. So I'd hope we'd see a second year out of him just to see what he's about.
For sure.
So do you think we'll go down the Nathan Cracker path?
Hard to say. I think it's growing more and more likely as the year goes on. As I said a couple of weeks ago, at the start of the year, I thought, there's no way we're going to go there again. But he's played some really good footy at league level. He's looked the part. I think if you were to give him a proper AFL pre-season, he'd get his body right, and he'd be ready to go. And I think he'd be able to play a part at AFL level.
Yeah, I think there's certainly that plug-and-play element to him, which would definitely be of benefit. I've noticed that Hocking's comments about him in the SANFL reports, more about the four-quarter efforts across the entire game and whatnot. So you can see they're sort of priming him for AFL duties.
Yep.
It's just a matter of whether we're the ones that pick him up or whether another club's going to take a punt on him. And seeing as he's notoriously homesick and doesn't want to leave the state, that only really leaves Adelaide as the competition. And I'm not sure if they'd be willing to go for him anyway.
Yeah, I think it's going to be us or no one, to be honest. I can't see another club going there. Even the Crows, I can't really see them going there.
No, and you'd think it'd probably be a rookie position, so that's where it comes up to
absolutely.
Whether Sam Russell would keep his position and how many spots we'd have available depending on what changes we make to our rookie list.
Yeah. Well, you think Renouf would be gone. What would you think we will do with Mitchell and Gray?
Well, I think Mitchell should still be around. despite the comments about his AFL abilities, he still does offer quite a lot in terms of his pace and And he's a solid depth player who'd bring in as a sub or even give the odd full game to. So I probably wouldn't mind seeing him promoted to the senior list.
Okay.
But then I also wouldn't mind giving him a third year on the rookie list. I guess that's his call whether he's happy to accept the third year on the rookie list. But I can't see any harm in giving him a senior list spot, at least for 1 or 2 years. Sam Gray is, I don't know, he seems to be in a position that we don't really have much need for, seeing as we have a wealth of talent in that small forward area. So I probably want to leave him on the rookie list for a second year.
Yeah, I think we'll probably lose Sam Gray and maybe keep Mitchell. Though it wouldn't surprise me if we lose Mitchell as well.
You think we won't we won't hold on to Sam Gray?
I don't think we will, no.
He's played what, 9 AFL games?
I don't think it's 9. Is it 9?
Huh?
I would have thought it was about 5.
No, he's definitely had quite a lot of opportunity, and that's one of the main reasons why there's been a bit of angst about him playing so much.
Well, look, it's smack bang in the middle at 7.
It's 7.
7.
Okay. I thought he played a few games. Usually when rookies get 7 AFL games, it means they may get a second year at least, or even get promoted. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they don't hold on to him. But I think another club would certainly give him an opportunity. I think he's proven that he's certainly too good for SANFL level.
Yeah.
Probably needs to develop a bit more at AFL level, but he held his own for a fair bit at AFL level. It's only really when he was exposed in a few of those games, which is not really, I wouldn't say it's his fault, it's his experience.
Yep.
But I could certainly see a team that's rebuilding give him a go.
For sure.
Yeah, you could be onto something there with Gray being let go.
All right, mate. Well, I reckon we might leave it there for now. Thanks for coming back on the podcast.
No worries. Always happy to be on.
Pleasure to have you on, buddy. And let's hope it's a big game tomorrow night and an even bigger one against Glenelg on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Go Power.
Ghana Ports.
Up go the Umbrellas. Clifford's 5th kick. Oh, a towering torpedo, but that's a massive kick. Oh, what a kick! A goal, he's second. Must have gone 65 metres. And Port Adelaide moved to 3-5 to the Bay's goal.